He charges extra for the beard. Right. Ooh, we're live. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to discuss the significance of beards. According to Hasidus, actually, that is a big issue. No joking. Beards have a big Kabbalistic significance. That's why even Hasidic women grow beards. It's unbelievable. Too early in the morning for my sense of humor. In any case, we finished yesterday, chapter 17, and we learned yesterday a very powerful idea that when a person does transgression, so we talked about that it perforates Hashem's name, a specific letter of Hashem's name. But when a person engages in sinat chinam, the hatred of other people, it's not just a perforation of a letter of Hashem's name, so it's a frontal assault on all of Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, because the essence of Yud Kei Vav Kei is the total nullification, that nothing really exists ultimately except for Hashem, and the basis of hatred towards other people is when we feel we exist, we're really something, and so therefore it's a frontal assault on Hashem's name, and that's why it took Moshe to fight the war against Midian. Midian represents this idea of having a sense of self. Moshe represents the total humility, he's the utter humility, right? The lack of the sense of yesh. And that's why also the Torah said that everybody should rally to the war against Midian, because everybody that says you need total Jewish unity, because total Jewish unity is the exact opposite of hostility and hatred, right? You need that, and that is engendered by the feeling of you can't really have unity unless you have a lack of sense of I'm really something, right? Because as we discussed many times in the past, if you say you're really something, then there's no room for anybody else. And that's why even though the people who really rallied were the warriors, right? People who are younger than a certain age or older than a certain age, or women or whatever it may be. So they're not going out to war literally, but everybody has to be involved in the war effort against the egotism by this display of great unity. Okay, now Yud Chet, chapter 18. Ulavin biura dvarim hanizkarim leil. Esha klipat midyan hu hahefich v'managed l'shem havaya. So he says, now we're going to explain on a deeper level, in case this wasn't deep enough. We're going to explain on a deeper level how the klipa of Midyan, how the forces of evil and concealment represented by Midyan, how it's the opposite of Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. So this is going to get a little bit Kabbalistic, but that should be no sweat for the Kabbalists in this room. Madonna, relax. Don't worry, you'll understand too. Tzarich lomar tchila, tzarich lavin tchila inyan achdut d'shem havaya. You first have to understand what's the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. You know, Hashem has so many names. There's Yud Kei Vav Kei, there's Elokim, there's Shakai, all the different names of God. So what is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei? Dihinei yadua hafresh bein shem havaya l'shem Elokim. First, when it contrasts the two most popular names of God, or most common, I should say, the Havaya, or the four-letter name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and the name Elokim, right? Elohim. I pronounce these so people don't get confused. By the way, usually we show great respect we don't say the names of God. We kind of hide it by saying, Elokim instead of Elohim. When we drink ginger ale, we say ginger kale, etc. Right. So, but for educational purposes, you're allowed to say, or else if you're just going to confuse people because they don't know what you're talking about, what's kale, right? Okay. So I just want to make sure I understand what we're talking about. So Elohim, Elokim, right? The Shem Elokim hu makor yitchalkut. The name Elokim, that name of God, represents the notion of differentiation. Yitchalkut litchalek, to divide up. V'lachen ne'emar b'shem Elokim lashon rabim. Now here's this unbelievable irony which has been plaguing me for decades. I have not been able to sleep in decades because of this. Okay, look at the irony. If Torah is trying to assert any idea, it's Hashem's oneness. I mean, isn't that like, whoa? There's no bigger idea than that in Torah. Now, isn't it ironic? Very good. Isn't it ironic that Hashem's name Elokim is actually the plural form? There is a singular form of that word, Eloka is God. Elohim is God's. I once had a conversation. This goes down in history. I won't name names unless you tempt me. But when I was younger, I was 18 years old. I heard one of the most famous Jewish philosophers in the world, in the 20th century, as a matter of fact, speak. And the next day, I was at Hebrew University, a student at Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And the next day, I saw somebody in the cafeteria on campus who I recognized had been at the lecture. So I started to like strike up a conversation, and the person said that she is like this Jewish philosopher lived a very long time, like over 100. And so therefore had a lot of like lot of relatives, because right, you live a long time, so you have children, grandchildren, and you know. So she was like a distant relative, and she said, as we started talking about the lecture, and she said, "Would you like to meet this person?" I was like, "Whoa, that's cool! Like one of the most famous Jewish philosophers in the 20th century, founder of the Reconstructionist movement." I'll stop with that. And wow, that's cool. So I actually went to his apartment in Jerusalem and I had this whole conversation. So he tried to convince me that Judaism used to believe in many gods. Why? Mi kamocha belohim Hashem. Who is like you among the gods, O Lord? So you see it, that this is what his argument was. Of course, it's completely mistaken. You know, Elohim. Who is like you among all the other gods? You know, there's a lot of gods out there, and you're like the biggest, toughest of them all. So I was just finding out Elohim means gods. That's actually grammatically true. So isn't this ironic that the Torah uses the word Elohim to describe God, and it happens to be in the plural? So why is that? Kmo Elohim Kadoshim Hu. The author gives a pasuk here in Sefer Yehoshua. Elohim Kadoshim Hu. God is holy. If you wanted to say God is holy, you know that in Hebrew you can tell the adjective has to agree in number with the noun that it's describing, right? If you say like a big dog, anybody know how to say a dog? Kelev, very good. So if you want to say a big dog, how do you say a big? Gadol, Kelev Gadol, very good. So what if you wanted to say big dogs? So you say klavim gidolim, but it has to agree in number, the adjective big. So the same thing here, Elohim Kiddoshim. So holy gods.
But the who
right, right, I know. So it's like, but you see here, because he's proving that by the fact that it uses the adjective Kiddoshim, that it's really grammatically plural. Now, Larry's making a really good point. At the end of the day, obviously, the Torah doesn't believe in multiple gods. God forbid, right? So you can see that from the who. You know, Elohim Kadoshim Hu. He is a holy God. He is. That's what it means. But literally, holy gods he is. Okay, so the question is, that's weird. And now we have another example. Asher niglu elav ha'Elohim. Quotes another pasuk, this time from the Torah itself, that God revealed himself to him. Again, niglu, revealed, plural. Right? So elav is to him, so that's not God. Right? That's not a problem. But again, Elohim, plural. Lichora Mashiach belukut rabim chas v'shalom. So he says at first glance, this is ultra confusing. Why is a plural term, which actually literally means gods, referring to God? You better tell me, or else I'm not going to be able to sleep for another 10 years. Achin yanhu. The matter is the following. Delokim, that word Elokim, hu bichinat hakoch v'achayut Eloki shenimshach b'nivrim l'havotam l'chayotam. Because the word Elokim refers to the divine. Remember, like people talk about, oh, everybody has a divine spark in them. So it's not everybody. Everything has a divine spark, which causes it to come into being. That's Elokim. And the reason it's in the plural is because if I say there's a divine spark which caused that chair to come into being, and that table and that clock in the window and a bird and those animals that roam around out here, the rabbits, right, etc. So that is a divine force which is bringing into being all of the multiplicity of existence. So you need a divine power which has the ability to bring into being all of the billions and billions and billions and gazillions of individual aspects of creation. That's called Elohim. That's why it's in the plural, because the divine spark, the divine energy, which allows the incredible differentiated existence to come into existence. There's a multitude of divine forces, which brings into being a multiplicity of things that are created. Anybody who opens their eyes, look at this wondrous creation. We say, Ma Rabu Ma'asecha, how great is your creation, O Lord. It's interesting, Rabu, Ma Rabu Ma'asecha. Ma'asecha means your deeds, right? But Rabu really comes from the word harbe. What does harbe mean? A lot. That's the nature of creation. U'k'mo Maru Ma'asecha Hashem. Right, as it says in Tehillim, the verse we just quoted. There's a multiplicity of types of creations. So in the most general way, you know, there's this there's something called taxonomy. I think it has something to do with taxis or an Uber and the controversy between them, or it has to do with stuffed animals.
Well, stuffed taxes. Taxidermy.
Oh, that could be.
Stuffed
Yeah.
tax takers.
That's it. Do you hear what happened, boy? They messed up and all information was stolen. Yeah. In any case, I'm just trying to be funny, but taxonomy, I believe, is the categorization of things. That's a technical word, taxonomy. Okay, I think that's the right word. So in Jewish taxonomy, we express the multiplicity of creation through the acronym Dalet, Tzadi, Chet, Mem. What does that stand for? Domain, that's the Dalet. Tzadi, Tzomeach, Chet, Chai, Mem, Midaber. Domain means inanimate. Tzomeach means vegetative. Chet means living. Mem means midaber, speaking. What are those three? What are those four things? So inanimate, obviously, like the chair. Tzemach, right? That refers to plants. Chet, chai, chaim. That's like a furry little creature, like your cats and dogs you have at home. And mem midaber, that's us. Speakers. That's what makes us human. Okay? Okay. Now, in those four categories of existence, they can be subdivided into a multiplicity of details. That's Jewish taxonomy. There's all kinds of inanimate categories. We have regular rocks until precious jewels. There's a big difference between that big fat diamond that Moria wears. How'd you afford that? That's amazing, Zev. Buy my wife one while you're at it. My wife never got a diamond. Someday, maybe give her a diamond. So,
You're the diamond in life.
you are good, Larry. Donna, did you hear that? Thank you.
It's a cubic zirconia.
Thank you. That's good. So, all kinds of different plants. Asavim, deshamim, tvot, perot. We have grasses and herbs, and we have all kinds of produce and fruits, marijuana, medical marijuana. Ribui minei bemin habali chaim. All the different types of animals. Go to a zoo. V'chein b'mina midaber yesh ribui pratimod. Even humans. It's all kinds of different humans. Shekol echad v'echad chaluk zemizeh. Each one is differentiated from the other. Ukemamar ein deotem shavot. Our sages say that in spite of the fact there are, I don't know how many millions of people live in the billions live on the planet right now, whatever the number is, our sages say there's not two people that are the same. Every single person, Deotem Shavot, Ein Deotem Shavot, they're completely different. V'kolzeh b'nivraim shalamata. That's only when we're talking about the differentiated nature of the world down here. But you know what? Ulamala, there's other spiritual worlds that we don't even usually sense. Your dogs do, but not us. Yesh od ribu yoter. There's even a greater multiplicity. You know, we think of angels. There's not such thing as angels. There's all kinds of angels. That's why we have all kinds of names. Ofanim, Srafim, Chayot. There's more multiplicity in the celestial world than down here. It's hard to even think about. Because we think of like up there, just think of like a bunch of things that say, holy, holy, holy is Lord of hosts. Not true. There's billions and billions of different types of existences up there. Eno she'ach behem itchalkut. The b'nivraim shelamata haguf shelahem shenitpas begeder makom hu hamechalkim of malachim shaguf shelahem eno begeder makom mamash v'imkein mihu hamechalkim liot shnayim ela she'itchalkut b'madrigat ruchaniot shelahem zehu hamechalkam. Up there, the differentiation is slightly different. How? Because down here, the differentiation is based upon very physical and obvious characteristics, right? Like a chair is not a table, and the table is not a rabbit, right? But in the spiritual worlds, they're not physical like we imagine it, but there in fact is a different spiritual energy which energizes all of those different worlds and different spiritual beings. כשם שהמקום דלמטה נתפס בגדר הגבול לפי אופן הגבול, תעשייה הגשמיות שהוא גבול ממש, כמו כן המקום שלמעלה, כמו בעולם היצירה, נתפס גם כן בגדר הגבול לפי אופן הגבול ליצירה. He's just pointing out that according to Kabbalah, so this is a parenthetical statement, I'm not even sure if here's in English there, that we even talk about different, even though it's not physical, there's all kinds of spiritual differentiation in the higher spiritual worlds. And we use different terms, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, the different terms referring to spiritual worlds. And even we divide up those worlds into the different subdivisions of the spiritual worlds. Vim came Gufat Malachim, Hagam Shem, Meosut, Akim, Shein, Eish, Ruach. So therefore, angels, their bodies, as it were, even though they're made out of the most subtle essences of fire and air. Gam bechinat esh ruach diyitzira mikom makom harehu nitpas begeder makom desham. So nevertheless, even though it's so subtle, there is differentiation that exists right there too. V'im kein yesh lamar du gufam mechalkam mikom makom zot vaday shehem mechulakim mitzad ma'alat madrigat rechuniyotam kmo chen b'nivraim shelamata. So just like, why is it that what caused this differentiation? You know what, to use like a science analogy, it's not literally an analogy. What makes us different? Different DNA. Like, why is it that one thing is this and one thing is that? It has different DNA. So imagine spiritual DNA. There's a divine spark, which is tailor-made and particularly contoured to create Larry over there. Should be healthy and strong and be able to serve Hashem. That's a blessing to you, Larry. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we have Zev over here, has different spiritual DNA. All should be healthy and strong and serve Hashem even greater levels than he already does, which is pretty impressive as it is. Okay. You know where that's all coming from? Elohim. Elohim represents these divine powers, which each divine power is like a different spiritual DNA, which is causing all of these different aspects to come into being. That's why when God created the world, and it's a very weird passage in the Torah, God comes to Adam, says, okay, like, look at this amazing zoology. Guy will live in this big zoo here. Give him names. Well, God couldn't think of names. because the names represent the spiritual formula. We've talked about this in the past, which represents the unique spiritual DNA, which makes a giraffe, a tiger, a rabbit. We talked about the word like Evan, stone. That word is actually the spiritual chemical formula for a stone. The Aleph, Bet, and Nun in that order represents the very specific divine energy coming from Elohim, right? That's what Elohim is, which allows for differentiation. Okay, so we're going to have to pause here, but we'll go on tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, with the difference between the name Elohim and Yud Ke Vav Ke, and we certainly got a pretty good idea so far of what's unique about the name Elohim and why Elohim is written, ironically, in the plural, because it's the divine power which brings into being plurality. We'll pause here and go on tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing everybody.